Emily Dickinson was not hard, but it was full of loneliness, which by the way was caused by herself, because a certain time she left school to continue with her education at home, and subsequently she got used to spend time by herself and not with many other people, and she preferred to segregate herself little by little from the society. During her lifetime, she wrote more than 1,000 poems. Everyone is recognizably her own, and many are masterpieces. The circumstances of her life, therefore, hold a special fascination for readers of her verse, which, by the way, only about a dozen were published during her lifetime and without the permission of Dickinson's poetic form in verses such as this creates vivid images and a unique flow. Countless times Dickinson sent her poetry to mentors and newspapers, but no one encouraged her to publish. Free verse was too obscure for the modern reader of the day. The others were finally published by her nephew and some years after her death. Dickinson's poems are unique for the era in which he wrote. They contain short lines, typically lack titles, and often utilize slant rhyme, as well as unconventional capitalization and punctuation. Many of her poems deal with themes of death and immortality.
Imagine the tales of the animals. Tales of animals, gods, heroic deaths, rituals of everyday events are told in cultures of the world over.
Nature illuminates the distinctive Nordic contribution to the artistic representation of landscapes in the 19th century, and it explores Nordic attitudes to nature and the significance that landscapes has had and continues to have in Nordic culture and thinking. Landscape painting assumed particular importance around the middle of 19th century, when landscape subjects became crucial symbols in Nordic countries' search for national identity. At the same time, the landscape art of the region was open to wider European influences, involving in a field of force between the national and the international.
So the poem that we choose is called Nature, the gentlest mother is. And for us it was a beautiful poem, so here it goes. Nature, the gentlest mother, impatient of no child, the feeblest or the waywardest, her admonition mild. In forest and the hill, by traveller is heard, restraining rampant squirrel or too impetuous bird. How fair her conversation, a summer afternoon, her household, her assembly, and when the sun goes down, her voice among the isle incites the timid prayer of the minutest cricket, the most unworthy flower. When all the children sleep, she turns as long away as will suffice to light her lamps. Then, bending from the sky, with infinite affection and infiniter care, her golden finger on her lip will silence everywhere.
We as a team discussed the fact of why she wrote that poem, and we got to the conclusion that in fact she was an extremely intelligent and observative woman because she was perfectly capable to relationate the feelings she had towards her mother. Because her mother died when she was very young, and Emily Dickinson is turning to nature to find a comfort and support she never found in her own mother. She's saying that unlike a human mother, Mother Nature accepts all her children and comforts them. I believe that reading and examining works of art that are inspired by nature and express love for nature provide a wonderful means to instill love of the earth into others. This is a belief that I hold dear because I think that the way poetry expresses love for the earth, in a way that is free from reason, really gets to the meaning of love of the earth. There is such a lack of reason behind so much poetry that many poets even make up words because we are at such a loss within the confines of linguistics. Dickinson once wrote to her mentor, Thomas Wentworth Higginson, "My mother does not care for thoughts," which was foreign to the way Dickinson lived. Later she wrote to Higginson, "Could you tell me what home is? I never had a mother. I suppose a mother is one to whom you hurry when you are troubled." On June 15, 1875, Emily Norcross Dickinson suffered a paralytic stroke and suffered from a long period of illness thereafter. This period of time may have had influence on her seclusion from society and any other, but it was also a way for the mother and daughter to become closer than ever before. For Dickinson, it was also just another small step away into her upper room, into her writing. Dickinson could not understand what it meant, the death of her mother. She had experienced so much death in her life, not only with the deaths of friends and acquaintances, but the death of her father and now her mother. She had wrestled with the idea of death, she had feared it, and she wrote many poems about it. Emily's mother might not have been the genius that her daughter was, but she influenced Dickinson's life in ways she probably didn't even realize. In total, Dickinson wrote 1,775 poems in her life. Would Emily have written so many, or would she have written any at all, if she had not lived that solitary existence at home? She lived for so many years alone, in the room of her own.
And as an analysis, she is comparing how nature moves at its own pace. There is no way to hurry it. What will be, will be. Animals fight, kill, but nature does not change. It continues to do all it can to grow and survive. On the other hand, society imposes all sorts of restraints on wellness. There are norms and morals, and yes, judgments. A certain way to be that moms are to nature into the children. Nature can be wild, but not domesticated. Mother Nature does not judge her children. In this case, it is obviously all humankind, and to her they are all equal. We could learn that a thing or two from her. Proceed with an open heart. So based in all these characteristics, we decide to represent the meaning of the poem by making a beautiful mural in which we represent a woman, in this case representing Mother Nature. And wilderness surrounds her, representing the water, vegetation and animals. It shows the way we as a team visualize the way Mother Nature correlates with human, so she always tries to protect her sons. In this case, plants, animals, etc., even though the relation between human and nature can be seen as a never-ending war, because humans take all the material needed for a better living, and instead of helping the nature to regenerate what we are destroying it for our own comfort. And until recent years, humanity never took the time to think what is going to occur when many of these materials have completely run out, because many of these, such as petrol, are not going to regenerate but in millions of years. But during that time, the global economy can't be in crisis anymore. And another example, what is going on with water. Eternally, it is also running out. So at this time, there hasn't been invented a way to obtain water yet, so many scientists have also kind of predicted that also the Third World War might be generated for the absences of water in many countries.
Another factor that we should consider is that we as humans are trying to destroy nature, and many of the natural disasters that occurred are because we caused so much damage to nature that we caused a big disequilibrium, and nature automatically responds to it and needs to return to the original equilibrium. So at this point we can conclude that humankind is definitely ending with all the natural resources, and nowadays we are starting to perceive the consequences of the past generations, such as global warming, the loss of the coral reefs, which by the way is predicted to have disappeared by 2020, water and petrol, and we must start acting now. But this is not to say that to the world, hey, start collecting trash and recycle. Certainly not. This is for us to conscientize and start changing each and every one of us, and then to our families, then the society, so that we can change the country's perspective, so that we can in a way motivate other countries to follow the example.
With all that we've been through, after all this time